What's going on, guys? I'm joined by Phil Kornblut. Phil works for the Sports Talk Media Network, and this is his seventh time winning the award. So congratulations on winning it again. And thank you for joining me on this interview, Phil.
Thank you so much for having me. It's great being with you.
Awesome. Awesome. So, Phil, what was your career path like on your way to where you are now? Did you always know that you wanted to be part of this industry?
Well, growing up as a youngster, no, I gave it no thought. But when I went to college, I did have some little bit of background in high school, working for the school newspaper, sports editor, and that sort of stuff. I always had a great love of sports as I was growing up, just as a bit player, on my high school teams, but just love sports. I was a kid that read the sports pages from beginning to end every morning, studied the box scores, followed my teams. I was a Yankees fan in baseball and a Packers fan in football and a Celtics fan in basketball. People call me a front runner. I don't know why, but I followed my teams judiciously. And so when I got to college, I decided to follow journalism and chose to go the broadcasting route, figuring that was easier than writing, easier to talk than it is to write, I thought. And so that's how it got started. I started off as an intern at the local radio station in Columbia. I went to the University of South Carolina and started off as an intern at the station there that did sports, and worked for a great sports director. And it just went on from there. You just follow the road and take the steps, and got a full-time job here and a full-time job there, and eventually landed at what was then the South Carolina News Network back in Columbia, where I was an assistant to the sports director. And in 1984 is when I joined them, and he created this statewide sports talk show called Sports Talk. And I've been with it ever since. I now own the network because the last owners back in 2019 shut down the doors in South Carolina. So I just took the network myself, and now I own it and run Sports Talk.
Awesome. Incredible journey. And I am also a Yankees fan, so we have that in common.
Good for you.
So what would you consider to be your favorite part of your job?
Oh, I just think every night at 6:05, when we throw the mic open, I just feel like I'm just talking to sports fans in the state of South Carolina that share common interests that I do in sports, which is I'm a native. I feel like I know most everything about what's going on in the sports scene in South Carolina. And that's what we focus on our show. I mean, you've got the national shows that talk about all the national sports stories, and we touch on that as well. But we focus on South Carolina, the state of South Carolina sports. And believe me, we got plenty to talk about with South Carolina and Clemson and all the colleges and the high schools and recruiting, which I follow very closely. So I just feel like when I open up that mic, I'm just talking to a lot of friends across the state of South Carolina who are in their cars or in their home who share a common interest in the teams and the sports figures in South Carolina. So I enjoy talking to people with a reporter's background that I have. I enjoy, though you don't break news like you used to, because everybody is a news reporter these days. But back in the earlier days, people used to depend on us for their news, for their sports news. We could break news stories. I really enjoyed in the late 70s, early 80s, into the 90s, kind of being that source for breaking stories in South Carolina.
Awesome. And what this is always one of the tougher questions, but this could be something tangible or intangible. But what would you consider to be the highlight of your career thus far?
Ooh, the highlight of my career. I would say just to kind of to sum it up. I mean, I've had so many personal, enjoyable moments from covering events that, I mean, Clemson's football national championships. I've been at those. I was at South Carolina's run to the Final Four. I've covered South Carolina and Clemson in the College World Series and their championships there. I just think being on a show the same night for now going on about 38 years, being there at 6:05 every night for sports fans in South Carolina. Despite the ups and downs of the business, it's a tough business. And there's been many times that I realized that my career was probably saved by somebody who said, well, let's don't fire him. Let's don't cut that position right now. Excuse me. Just being there every night for this long of a period, which is rare, I think, in our business, is kind of the overall highlight to me,
Yeah.
Just being able to sit down every night and turn on that microphone and talk to people in the same time period about the same things is just sort of an overall highlight to me.
Yeah, that is definitely something I've heard in other interviews as well. Is just staying in this industry for as long as you have and others have is
Yeah.
A highlight in itself. So, what is the best piece of advice you can give someone who is thinking about pursuing a career in the sports media industry or space?
Yeah. Well, first of all, you just have to love sports. I mean, it has to be important to you. It just can't be an occasional thing for you. It's really it's got to be in your blood. In my case, people who know me, my family who've been great, I mean, they know that I live and sleep and drink and eat sports 24 hours a day. I don't know why I have that gene. I just do. That was
Right.
some people are economics majors and they're all about math and money, and some people can put a seed in the ground and grow a plant. I can't do either, but
Right.
I feel like I can talk sports mostly with anybody. So
Right.
you must have a passion for it, because I mean, it's a tough job. It's not going to drain you physically, but mentally and sometimes emotionally, it can be a tough job. Not everybody's going to like you. You got to have a thick skin.
Right.
In this day and age of social media, where everybody has an opinion and has access for putting that opinion out there, you've got to have a real thick skin. You cannot believe everybody likes you. And I mean, if you're going to be in the media, and the one thing that really kind of gets my goat is, especially with the youngsters today, the younger media people, I get the feeling that they want to be friends with the people they cover. And that's probably the result of the social media thing, where you can connect with coaches or players on social media at a younger age. And you want to be their friends and you want to be social with them, but you can't be honest in journalism and honest in media and tell the story and report on people if you're buddies with them, because then you end up, being shaded in many ways in telling your story. So you've got to be willing to have that separation between you and the people you cover. So those are some of the things. I think you just have to have that burning desire to want to be in sports media, love sports. Don't look at the clock, never be willing. If you're working for somebody and they say, look, you got to go cover this game tonight, or you got to get up early in the morning and go, be willing to do it, go the
Right.
extra mile when somebody says we need something done. That'll go a long way in keeping you in the business.
Right. Awesome. Awesome advice there. So thank you for that. And since you're a multiple time winner, have you been to the awards weekend?
Oh yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Nice.
I
And how was
went.
that experience? Yeah.
Oh, it was awesome. I went to, I think I won it back in 1982, I think, for the first time.
Wow.
And I've been to several. I know it's changed. I mean, when I went, it was in Salisbury,
Right.
and we were paired up with a local family who sort of they were our escorts for the night or for the weekend, and got a chance to see a lot of familiar faces and people with familiar names who I did not know. I got a chance to meet in the receptions and things like that. So it was always a lot of fun to go. Yeah.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, those are all the questions I have for you,
Okay.
Phil. If you want to leave us with any closing remarks, or you want to shout anyone out who helped you reach this place where you were able to win the award, you can go ahead and do that now.
Well, I mean, first of all, thanks to the association for the award again, for the folks who I guess nominated and voted. Very humbled by it again. Never ever really gave it another thought that I would ever be selected again, because I'm kind of getting on down that road in terms of years in the business. And I know it's a younger person's business now for the most part, though I still consider myself, I don't, I look at age as just a number. I still consider myself young at heart and young and enthusiastic in what I do. But, I wouldn't be where I am today in this position in talking about people in the profession without, really two guys, a gentleman by the name of Bill Wagey, who hired me as an intern at the old WIS radio in Columbia and gave me my first chance and showed me how to turn on a tape recorder and showed me how to do an interview with coaches, excuse me, and to try not to be intimidated. And then a gentleman named Don Williams, who was the sports director at the South Carolina News Network, who hired me and gave me the shot to be on statewide radio. And I eventually replaced him in that role as he moved on to other things. But he's always been a great mentor to me and a great advisor as well.
Awesome stuff. Well, congratulations again, Phil, and thank you for joining us.
Thank you so much. Good talking to you.
You too.